A historic night unfolded in the United Kingdom in 2025. What was supposed to be just another spectacular Coldplay concert turned into a global headline, when frontman Chris Martin delivered an emotional and deeply personal surprise that left the world speechless. In front of tens of thousands of fans, under the sparkling lights of London, he dedicated a special song to the love of his life, Hollywood actress Dakota Johnson. The moment instantly went viral, dominating social media feeds and search engines with the phrase, "Chris Martin Dakota Johnson UK Concert 2025. Before we dive into the full story, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments right now. What's the most romantic gesture you've ever seen a musician do live on stage? From the very beginning of the show, there was something different in the air. The crowd filled the stadium hours before the gates opened, holding colorful wristbands that glowed like galaxies in the night. Anticipation spread like wildfire as rumors circled online. Would Chris Martin finally dedicate a song to Dakota Johnson in public? Fans could feel it in the air, a sense of mystery and electricity that made every heartbeat louder. The concert kicked off with Coldplay's timeless classic Yellow, the entire stadium glowing golden as thousands sang in unison. Then came Viva La Vida, sending waves of euphoria through the crowd as fireworks painted the sky above London. It was Coldplay at their best, grand, vibrant, and unstoppable. Yet despite the explosive energy, the audience's eyes kept drifting toward the VIP section. Because seated there, quietly but unmistakably, was Dakota Johnson. Calm, graceful, and glowing, her presence added layers of anticipation, and then, the unexpected silence. Chris Martin stepped away from the booming energy, placed his hands on the piano, and let the music fade. The stadium of 60,000 suddenly hushed. The lights dimmed to a single spotlight. Chris leaned into the microphone and whispered, "Tonight is different." Every fan froze. The tone had shifted. This wasn't just another concert moment, this was history in the making. Chris began to speak about love. About someone who had brought endless light into his life, someone who stood by him in silence, away from the spotlight, yet remained the center of his universe. He didn't mention her name. He didn't have to. The entire stadium knew. Murmurs spread, fans screamed, and all eyes turned toward Dakota Johnson. Cameras zoomed in, capturing her gentle smile, her eyes glistening with emotion. Then, Chris Martin began to play. It wasn't any Coldplay hit that fans recognized. This was new. A soft, haunting melody on the piano, joined slowly by strings, swelling with emotion. The lyrics told a story, about resilience, about finding calm in chaos, about love that survives the storm of fame. It was intimate, raw, and painfully beautiful. It was a song for Dakota. The stadium dissolved into silence. Tens of thousands of people stood still, mesmerized. Some wept quietly, some clasped their hands together, and others recorded through trembling phones, whispering, "This is history." On the giant LED screens, a visual of glowing hearts floated through galaxies, blending into silhouettes of a couple walking hand in hand across a glowing shoreline. It was art, music, and love colliding all at once. Halfway through, the tension soared. Fans were holding their breath, waiting. Would Chris Martin say her name? Would he publicly declare it? The emotional gravity was unbearable, and the crowd erupted in chants, "Dakota! Dakota!" The sound shook the stadium. Dakota Johnson smiled nervously, covering her face with her hands, unable to hide her emotions. Chris Martin closed his eyes and pushed into the chorus. His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from sincerity. Every lyric felt like a confession written in real time. And as the final verse arrived, he paused, looked directly toward the VIP seats, and said the words the entire world had been waiting for, "This one is for you, Dakota." The stadium exploded. Thunderous cheers, screams, and tears all at once. Fans hugged strangers, some collapsed in disbelief, and thousands shouted Dakota's name louder than ever. The atmosphere was indescribable. It wasn't just music, it was a love story unfolding live before the eyes of the world. Dakota Johnson rose to her feet, applauding with tears streaming down her cheeks. The cameras zoomed in, capturing the raw emotion on her face, a moment that will forever be etched into the history of both music and cinema. Chris Martin smiled softly, bowed his head, and whispered, "Thank you," before the lights returned to full blast and the band thundered into the next track, but the night had already changed. What fans witnessed wasn't just a concert, it was a declaration of love on the biggest stage possible. And the internet responded instantly. Within minutes, clips of the moment flooded TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Hashtags like #Chris Martin, #Dakota Johnson, #Coldplay 2025 trended globally. Millions watched the video, some in awe, others in tears, all united by the undeniable power of the gesture. International media outlets immediately picked up the story. Major headlines read, "Chris Martin dedicates love song to Dakota Johnson at UK concert 2025." Entertainment journalists called it the most romantic moment in live music history. Fans online declared, Coldplay just redefined the meaning of a love song. Speculation quickly spiraled. Was this dedication a prelude to something bigger? Was an engagement announcement on the horizon? Could it even be that Chris and Dakota were preparing for marriage? No answers have been given yet, but the performance has left the world buzzing, waiting for the next chapter in their love story. One thing is clear, on that night, in the heart of London, Coldplay didn't just perform, they wrote a new page in the book of music history. Chris Martin transformed a stadium into a love letter, immortalizing his devotion to Dakota Johnson with a song that may very well become one of the most legendary ballads in his career. And now, the question is yours. Can you think of any concert moment more powerful, more emotional, than Chris Martin's dedication to Dakota Johnson? Share your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more of the world's most unforgettable moments in music and love. The aftermath of that unforgettable night in London was nothing short of a cultural earthquake. Fans leaving the stadium weren't just talking about Coldplay's set list, they were buzzing about the moment. Strangers embraced outside the gates, some crying, some laughing, others still in disbelief. Dozens of fans posted raw videos immediately, capturing shaky hands, blurred lights, and screams that echoed through the night. By the time the crowd dispersed, hashtags like #Coldplay UK 2025 and #Chris and Dakota had already been viewed millions of times on TikTok. One fan interview outside the venue summed it up perfectly. "I've been to dozens of concerts, but this wasn't a show, it was witnessing someone's heart being revealed to the world. I'll never forget it." Another fan said, "When Chris looked at Dakota and said her name, I swear I felt my chest explode. That was pure love." Inside the digital world, the impact was immediate. Twitter, or X, as it's now known in 2025, became a live diary of emotions. Tweets flooded in, "Chris Martin just set the bar for every man alive. Good luck competing with that. Dakota Johnson is the luckiest woman in the universe tonight." Forget Super Bowl halftime shows, this was the most iconic performance of the decade. Even celebrities joined the chorus. Fellow musicians praised the courage of dedicating such an intimate song in front of the world. Hollywood actors, directors, and cultural critics chimed in, calling it a cinematic moment disguised as a concert. Within hours, every major entertainment outlet ran the story as front-page news. BBC, The Guardian, Rolling Stone, Billboard, Variety, and People magazine all pushed the headline, "Chris Martin declares love to Dakota Johnson with song at Coldplay's UK concert 2025." Television news didn't fall behind. Morning shows across Europe and America replayed the footage, slowing down the exact second Chris Martin whispered Dakota's name, zooming in on her tearful smile. Analysts compared it to legendary music moments, Freddie Mercury at Live Aid, Beyoncé's surprise performances, and Adele's stadium shows, arguing that Chris Martin's dedication was now in the same category of timeless live history. The song itself became a mystery fans couldn't stop dissecting. Was it a brand new unreleased Coldplay track? Or a personal composition Chris wrote solely for Dakota? Lyric breakdowns spread like wildfire online, with fans highlighting hidden references to Dakota's films, moments from their relationship, and symbolic imagery of light, storms, and healing. YouTube reactors filmed emotional breakdowns of the clip, crying on camera while explaining how rare it is to see such vulnerability from a global superstar. Meanwhile, Dakota Johnson herself became the center of global fascination. Photos of her wiping tears, standing to applaud, and smiling through the dedication flooded every major platform. Lifestyle magazines began analyzing her outfit from that night, describing how effortlessly elegant she looked in a simple yet striking black ensemble. Paparazzi images of her leaving the stadium hand in hand with Chris Martin added even more fuel to the fire. The global impact wasn't just emotional, it was measurable. Coldplay's music streams skyrocketed by over 200% in the following 48 hours. Search engines recorded unprecedented spikes in keywords like Chris Martin Dakota Johnson love song, Coldplay UK concert 2025 special moment, and Dakota Johnson Coldplay dedication. Analysts predicted that if the unreleased track were officially launched, it could debut straight at #1 worldwide, purely on hype and sentiment. But beyond the numbers, the moment also sparked cultural conversations. Relationship experts and columnists began debating whether this kind of grand public gesture strengthens love or adds pressure. Some argued it was the most authentic thing Chris Martin had ever done. Others wondered aloud if it was a subtle engagement announcement in disguise. And then there were fans convinced that Coldplay's upcoming tour dates might feature more surprises, sparking ticket sales to soar across Europe and North America. Internationally, the story made headlines in multiple languages. Spanish newspapers dubbed it La Canción de Amor de Chris para Dakota. French outlets called it La Déclaration d'amour en musique la plus émouvante de la décennie. Even in Asia, trending hashtags in Korea and Japan showed clips of Dakota Johnson tearing up, with captions like "Real Love on the World Stage." It was a true global domino effect, one concert moment transcending borders, languages, and cultures. Back in London, fans who had been there live described a surreal afterglow. One young woman posted, "I came for Coldplay, but I left believing in love again." Another wrote, "I've been heartbroken for years, but watching that gave me hope." Even skeptics admitted being swept away, with one viral comment saying, "I came to make fun of Coldplay, and instead I cried like a baby." This wasn't just music. It wasn't just celebrity romance. It was proof that in a world dominated by headlines, gossip, and fleeting viral trends, genuine love still had the power to stop time. Chris Martin had turned a stadium into a love letter and shared it with the universe, and now, everyone is waiting. Will Chris and Dakota make a public statement about the dedication? Will the mysterious song be released as part of Coldplay's next album? Or will it remain a private serenade, a gift only to Dakota, forever remembered only through the shaky fan recordings that captured its magic? Whatever the future holds, one truth remains: Coldplay's UK concert in 2025 will be remembered not only as a night of music, but as a night when love itself became the headline. So tell us, what do you think comes next? Engagement? A surprise wedding announcement? Or maybe another secret song in the upcoming tour? Share your predictions in the comments, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more breaking updates on the world's biggest concerts, love stories, and unforgettable moments that define our generation.